The galaxy was not a safe place. For countless years it had been ruled by hunters. These hunters were not animals, but empires. Powerful alien races who lived by one rule: the strong survive, the weak are prey. They spread across the stars like shadows. Wherever they found weaker civilizations, they attacked. They stole resources, captured slaves, and hunted whole species as if it was a sport. The Council of Predators sat at the top. It was not a council of wisdom or peace. It was a council of teeth and claws, of fangs and hunger. The predators ruled together, not because they loved each other, but because they enjoyed the same feast. The feast of the weak. In the great chamber of the council, lords of different species gathered. Some were tall and covered in scales, with eyes like knives. Others had claws dripping with venom. Some had jaws strong enough to crush steel. Each one believed they were born to hunt. Each one believed the galaxy belonged to them. Every meeting was the same. They laughed about the planets they had stripped. They shared stories of prey species that had begged for mercy. They competed to see who had taken the greatest trophies. The Irali were soft, growled one predator lord. They cried as we burned their cities. Their skulls make fine ornaments for my ship. The Taurian thought they could resist, hissed another, but they ran like frightened cattle. Their leaders are now in cages, the chamber filled with cruel laughter. This was the law of the galaxy. The strong hunted, the weak were eaten. But then, something changed. A rumor spread. A whisper moved through the predator fleets. A new species had arrived at the edge of the council's space. They called themselves humans. The predators were amused. Another prey species, they thought. Another feast. Humans? One lord chuckled. They will serve well as workers. Maybe they will scream nicely when hunted, another sneered. Do they have claws? Fangs? No. Then they are nothing. The predators laughed again. To them, humans were already prey. When humans first entered the council chamber, the predators stared. The newcomers were not tall or monstrous. They did not have claws or armored skin. They looked almost fragile compared to the towering hunters around them. The predators grinned. Meat, one of them whispered, but something was strange. The humans did not tremble. They did not beg. They did not look away from the predators' sharp eyes. They simply watched, calm, silent, steady. This silence was unsettling. Prey was supposed to be afraid. Prey was supposed to cry or plead. But the humans did neither. The predators mocked them anyway. Do you know where you are, little prey? Asked the scaled lord with green eyes. You stand in the chamber of hunters. You should bow, you should kneel. The human ambassador only gave a small smile. His eyes were cold, his voice calm. We do not bow. The predators roared with laughter. To them this was foolish bravery. To them it was the final proof that humans were weak, too proud to know their place. But behind the laughter, some of the younger predators shifted uncomfortably. There was something different in those human eyes, something that did not belong to prey. Outside the chamber, whispers grew louder. Predator fleets prepared to test humanity. They spoke of taking human colonies as they had taken others. They will learn the law, one predator captain said. In this galaxy you are either the hunter or the prey, but the humans stayed quiet. They did not shout, they did not threaten. They only built ships, weapons, fleets, silent preparations hidden in the dark. The predators laughed at this too. Railguns, cannons, child's toys. They cannot match our claws. What they did not understand was that silence is not weakness. Silence is waiting. One evening in the council chamber, a predator lord leaned forward and growled at the human ambassador. Do you understand, prey? This galaxy belongs to the hunters. You are nothing here. You are only food waiting to be eaten. The chamber laughed, but the human ambassador did not laugh. He did not even smile. He spoke one quiet sentence that cut through the noise. Even prey can bite. The laughter stopped for a moment. The predators looked at each other. Then they laughed louder than before, mocking the strange words. But deep inside, some of them felt a small chill. They did not know why. It was the first hint of fear. In the darkness of space, human fleets grew stronger. Their soldiers trained harder. Their weapons were perfected again and again. The galaxy still believed they were prey. But the humans knew the truth. They were not the hunted. They were waiting to hunt. The council chamber was alive with cruel laughter. The predator lords celebrated their victories, as they always had. To them, the galaxy was their hunting ground, and every weaker race was only food waiting to be claimed. Around the great table, alien voices clashed. Deep growls, sharp hisses, grinding clicks. They bragged about the planets they had taken, the slaves they had broken, the trophies hanging in their halls. The Ryan fell within a single cycle, boasted one lord, his teeth glinting under the light. Their warriors ran like frightened animals. Their leaders begged before the flames consumed them. The Kalar, another hissed with pride. Their cities sang with screams. Their bones line my throne. The chamber shook with amusement. This was how it had always been. The strong take, the weak give. But tonight, one thing was different. At the edge of the chamber, the human delegation stood quietly. They had been invited only to be mocked, to be reminded of their place. The predators watched them like a pack of wolves staring at cornered prey. Some were curious, some were cruel. All believed the same thing, that humans were already lost. One scaled lord leaned forward, his long tongue flicking the air. "Human," he growled, "your people are new. You do not understand the lore of this galaxy. Do you know the law?" The human ambassador looked calm, his hands folded behind his back. "Tell me," he said softly. The chamber erupted with laughter. The lord slammed his clawed hand on the table. "The law is simple. Hunt or be hunted. Take or be taken. There is no middle ground. You are prey, and we are hunters." The words echoed through the chamber. To the predators, it was the natural truth. To them, this was not cruelty, only order. The other lords pounded their fists, roared, and hissed in agreement. The chamber filled with their arrogance, but the humans did not kneel. They did not tremble. The ambassador's voice was calm when he spoke again. "And what happens when the prey learns to bite back?" For a moment, silence hung heavy. The predators blinked, confused. Then they laughed again, louder than before. "You think your kind can fight us?" One of them sneered. "Your ships are fragile. Your bodies weak. You are nothing but meat with clever tongues." Another slammed his tail against the floor. "We will use your people to feed our soldiers. Your colonies will be burned, your skies filled with our banners. And we will keep you alive only long enough to hear your screams." The laughter grew crueler, but the humans only stood, calm and steady. Not once did they answer with rage. Not once did they break. That calmness was more frightening than anger. In the following cycles, predator fleets moved freely. They launched new raids across weaker territories. Whole species were enslaved again. To the predators, this was a feast, a golden age of victory, but in the shadows, humans were watching. When they were ordered to send ships for inspection, the predators laughed at the old, modest vessels that appeared. They thought the humans had no strength, no weapons worth notice. "Look at them," one commander scoffed. "Their engines barely shine. Their guns are nothing but scrap metal. They will be easy prey." The council agreed. They gave the humans insulting commands. Patrol dangerous borders. Join predator fleets as the first line in battles. Carry supplies for the real warriors. To them, humans were disposable. But again, the humans did not protest. They obeyed quietly, they listened. They learned, and still, they built. In one private chamber, a predator captain leaned back in his throne. He laughed with his officers, drinking thick blood wine from a golden cup. "The humans amuse me," he said. "They speak with boldness, but they are nothing. Their silence is weakness. Their calm is fear. When the time comes, they will be the easiest hunt of all." His officers hissed with approval, but none of them knew the truth. The humans were silent, yes. But silence is not always fear. Sometimes silence is patience. Sometimes silence is a blade waiting in the dark. Back in the human colonies, soldiers trained day and night. Factories forged new weapons. Ships left dry docks with hidden strength. The predators laughed and ignored them. They believed what they wanted to believe, that humanity was weak, that they were only prey, and the predators kept laughing, feeding on their arrogance. But whispers began to spread in quiet corners of the galaxy. Weaker species, the ones who had always suffered, looked to the humans and wondered, Why do they not beg like us? Why do they stand so still even when insulted? What do they hide? The questions grew like sparks in dry grass. In the council chamber, the scaled lord sneered again at the human ambassador. "Remember this," he growled. "The galaxy belongs to hunters. You are nothing. You will always be nothing." The human met his burning eyes without fear. "We remember," he said quietly. "We remember everything." The predators laughed again, but that calm voice carried weight, like a shadow beneath their laughter. For the first time in many cycles, some of the hunters felt unease. They didn't understand why, but deep inside they knew something was wrong. The feast of arrogance had begun, and every feast has an end. The predators believed they were untouchable. For many cycles, they had ordered the humans to fight at the front of their fleets. They thought humans would break, bleed, and die first, while the predator warships stayed safe behind. It was a cruel game, a way to remind the new species of their place. But the humans played along, quietly, patiently. The test came sooner than expected. One predator empire rose against the council, refusing to share tribute. Their fleets struck fast, and the council ordered punishment. A great armada was assembled, dozens of predator warships, supported by weaker ally ships, and of course, the humans were forced into the front line. "They will be torn apart," one predator lord laughed in the chamber. "But their deaths will buy us time." The others laughed with him, but when the fleets arrived at the battle zone, the story did not go as expected. The enemy fleet appeared, burning bright across the void. Predator commanders barked orders, shoving the humans forward. "Move prey! Die for us!" A scaled captain roared through the comms. The human ships drifted silently into formation. Their design looked weak, outdated. Their engines glowed faintly. Their guns looked small compared to the massive predator cannons. Predator crews chuckled. "Pathetic," they muttered. "They will not last a minute." But then, the silence ended. The first shot came from a human railgun. It was not loud, not flashy, but the result was brutal. A glowing spear of metal tore across space, hitting a predator warship dead center. The ship's shield shattered. The armor split open like paper. In seconds, the mighty predator vessel was gone, cut in half, burning as pieces spun away into the dark. The predators froze. "What was that?" one commander shouted. "What weapon?" Another railgun fired. Then another. Human ships that had seemed weak suddenly unleashed a storm of precision fire. Silent, deadly, and unstoppable. The predators had laughed at human cannons. They had never imagined such speed, such power, such accuracy. For the first time in centuries, the hunters were bleeding. Panic spread across the predator fleet. "Protect the flagship," a voice screamed. "They are targeting us. Block their fire." But it was already too late. Human warships moved with strange coordination. They weren't just firing, they were hunting. Every predator ship that tried to retreat was cut down. Everyone that tried to hide was tracked and destroyed. Predators who had mocked humans only days ago now screamed as their own ships were torn apart. The silence of prey had turned into the roar of hunters. On the flagship of the predator fleet, the scaled lord slammed his fists against the controls. His jaw trembled with rage and fear. "How dare they? They are prey. They cannot do this." But no one listened. The bridge crew scrambled in terror as another railgun round shattered their escort ships, and then the humans spoke. A calm voice came over the comms. It was the human fleet commander. "You forced us to the front," he said. "You thought we were shields for your arrogance, but we are not shields. We are blades." The predator lord's eyes widened. "No. This is impossible." The human commander's voice was steady, almost cold. "The hunt has turned, and you are the prey." The predator flagship tried to run. Its engines flared, pushing against the void. But the humans were faster. Their ships moved like predators in the dark, cutting off every escape path. One last railgun strike hit the flagship. The explosion lit up the stars. The council's fleet, the proud armada of hunters, was broken. Those who survived fled into the void, carrying with them stories of terror. For the first time in living memory, the hunters had been hunted. News spread quickly. Across the galaxy, whispers turned into gasps. Weaker species who had lived in fear for centuries heard the stories with disbelief. Humans had destroyed predator warships. Humans had defeated a fleet. The predators tried to silence the rumors. They claimed it was an accident, a trick, a rare mistake. But deep down, they knew the truth. The prey had revealed its teeth, and the hunters had felt the bite. In the council chamber, the lords shouted in anger and fear. They tricked us. They hid their weapons. This cannot be allowed. But under all their rage was a new feeling, a feeling they had not known in centuries. Fear. The humans had broken the oldest law of the galaxy. They were not prey. They were predators too. The galaxy trembled. News of the human victory spread like fire through dry grass. A predator fleet, one of the strongest in the council, had been broken. Their flagship destroyed. Their proud warriors scattered into the void. For centuries, no one had dared to challenge the hunters. Now, a young species had done the impossible. The weaker races whispered with hope. Could the age of fear finally end? Could the predators be defeated? The predators themselves, however, refused to believe it. It was luck. One lord growled in the council chamber. A trick, another hissed. A single battle proves nothing, but their eyes betrayed them. Behind the words, fear lingered. Still, arrogance is a hard habit to kill. The council gathered their forces once again. They brought fleets larger than ever before. Hundreds of warships, thousands of soldiers. We will crush them, the scaled lord declared. We will burn their colonies, erase their name. Humanity will never rise again. The chamber roared in agreement, but the humans were ready. When the Predator Armada entered human territory, they expected chaos. They expected begging, fire, and despair. Instead, they found silence. Human ships appeared from the dark, sliding into formation like blades. Their movements were precise, coordinated, calm. The Predators laughed at first. They cannot stop all of us, a commander shouted. We are too many. The first railgun strike ended his laughter. A Predator battleship exploded in a flash of light, its fragments scattering across the void. Then another fell, and another. The Predator fleet tried to push forward, but every step was answered with precision fire. The humans moved like hunters, cutting off supply lines, breaking escorts, isolating targets. It was not a battle. It was a slaughter. In the council chamber, chaos broke out. Messages from the front lines arrived one after another. Our fleets destroyed. They knew our tactics. Every move anticipated. We cannot escape them. They are hunting us. The Predator Lords shouted over each other. This cannot be. We are the hunters. They are prey. They should be prey. But the truth could no longer be hidden. Humanity had turned the galaxy's law upside down. The humans did not fight like prey. They fought with patience, with discipline. Predators struck with brute strength, overwhelming their enemies. Humans struck with strategy, turning arrogance into weakness. Every ambush the predators prepared became their own trap. Every desperate charge ended in destruction. The more the predators fought, the more they fell. On one burning front, a predator commander begged for reinforcements. His fleet was surrounded, his ships torn apart by railgun fire. Through the smoke, a human vessel approached. Its weapons locked, its engines steady. A message came through, calm, cold. You ruled by fear. You hunted the weak. But now you run. Do you feel it? This is what prey feels. The Predator commander screamed in rage, but his words were drowned by the sound of his ship exploding. Entire Predator empires collapsed within cycles. Their proud banners fell. Their thrones were empty. Their slaves rose in rebellion, supported by human fleets. The galaxy that had once belonged to hunters now belonged to humans, and the council was broken. In the great chamber, the Predator Lords gathered one final time. Their voices no longer roared with pride. They were desperate, angry, afraid. We must unite. One shouted, we must strike their homeworld. Another cried, we must. The doors opened. A human commander walked into the chamber, calm as ever. He looked at the lords one by one. The hunters who had once mocked him now trembled in silence. His voice was steady when he spoke. You called us prey. You laughed at us. You thought silence was weakness. But you were wrong. He stepped closer, his eyes cold. We are not prey. We are predators, and this galaxy is no longer yours." The chamber shook with silence. The predator lords looked at each other, their arrogance shattered. For the first time in their history, they understood what it meant to be hunted, and for the first time, they knew they had lost. Across the stars, the weaker races cheered. Chains were broken, worlds were freed. The predators who had once ruled with claws and fangs now hid in the shadows, hunted like animals. The galaxy had changed forever. The hunters had fallen. The council was no more. The great chamber that had once echoed with predator laughter now stood in silence. Broken thrones, empty seats. The smell of fear lingered where arrogance once ruled. Across the galaxy, predator fleets were shattered. Their empires collapsed like sand underwater. The species who had called themselves hunters now ran, scattered into the shadows, hiding from the very prey they had once mocked, and at the center of it all stood humanity. In world after world, chains were broken. Slaves lifted their heads to the sky and saw human banners. Not banners of conquest, but banners of freedom. The humans did not burn cities as the predators had. They did not devour the weak or enslave them. Instead, they offered alliances, protection, and hope. Weaker species, long trapped in terror, could not believe it at first. "Why free us?" one leader asked. "Why not rule us as they did?" The human admiral's answer was simple: because we remember. Humanity remembered what it meant to be small, to be fragile, to be hunted, and because they remembered, they did not become monsters. But make no mistake, they did not grow soft. Human fleets still roamed the stars, their railguns sharp, their soldiers ready. They knew the galaxy's truth. Peace was only possible if predators feared the cost of breaking it, and humans had become the cost. In hidden corners, the last predator lords whispered in fear, "They hunt us now. They strike from the dark. No world is safe. This is how we ruled. Now it is our turn to feel it." For centuries, predators had been the nightmares of the galaxy. But now they were the ones who woke in fear, hearing phantom footsteps in the dark, wondering if humans were already near. On Earth, the human leaders gathered. They looked at the stars and the new order they had forged. They were not naive. They knew power could corrupt. They knew someday another species might rise to challenge them, but they also knew this truth. Humanity had proven that prey could fight back. Humanity had shown the galaxy that fear could change sides, and humanity had become the apex. One scene would be remembered for generations. On a liberated world, the people gathered to celebrate. Statues of predator overlords were torn down. Children who had once lived in cages now ran free. In the crowd, an elder asked the human ambassador a question. "Tell us, why did you not kneel when the predators mocked you, when they threatened you? Why did you not fear them as we did?" The human looked at the elder with calm eyes. His words were simple, but they carried across the galaxy. Because hunters forget one truth: even the smallest prey still has teeth. Those words spread like fire. They were written on walls, whispered in secret, and taught to children across liberated worlds. The predators had believed the galaxy belonged to them, but now the galaxy belonged to everyone. Protected by those who had once been dismissed as weak, protected by humanity. Yet, even in their victory, the humans did not rest. They knew the stars were wide and danger could rise again, so they watched. They prepared. They stayed ready, and always in the shadows, they hunted those who would dare to hunt the weak again. The galaxy would never forget what happened. It once preyed on the weak. It once feasted on fear, but then the humans came, and the hunters learned what it meant to be hunted,